Okay, for real this time. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to our podcast, episode 3. And actually, I need to change that over on the side there too. I thought I was on the ball today because I was here early, and apparently I wasn't. So we started talking, and we talked for about 15 minutes, and then I realized that I did not start the stream because I was like, wait. There's no chatters. Nobody's chatted anything. At least somebody would have said hi or something by now, and nothing. We had nothing. So that's my bad, and we are gonna try and start from the start again here. What did we do? We talked about what we had going on in our lives. So we'll go again around the circle here again with Chaplain there. What have you got going on, Chaplain?
I think the biggest thing for me right now is I'm wrapping up my master's degree of education, which has been super crazy exciting for like the last 20 months.
Nice. That is excellent news, and keep us posted on that.
Very cool.
Yeah. And Flatcap, what have you been up to?
Yeah, I got to go to Christian Game Developers Conference with Romans from Reach Conference, which was pretty cool. And we also got to go to Realm Makers Conference. So watching a bunch of creators pitching their games that they were doing, watching people teach each other about how to do some things, meeting people in all areas of what's going on in video game things, from the music people, the writers, the producers, everybody. And then in the Realm Makers too, we got to hang out there with all the people doing comic books and different whole creations of worlds that they've done to be able to tell stories, and the crossover between the two. And then I didn't do it, but I was tempted to do some cosplay there, which was pretty cool to watch people that are fully committed doing cosplay. I'll be doing that at Reach Conference. I didn't have mine all set ready to roll yet, or I thought I'm going to be sitting in the other conference where nobody's dressed up, so maybe I'm not going to do that today.
Are you keeping it a secret what you're going to be?
No, I can share. I can say I've got Tim the Enchanter is one of the costumes that I have, and then I don't know if I'll bring this one, but my family is going to Renaissance Festival, and we're going to the Kilt Weekend. So
okay.
I'm not Scottish or Irish, but there is a tartan for clergy, and so I have the clergy tartan. I thought that was pretty cool.
Very cool. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And yourself, NYTxSABER, how you been?
I am just finishing up getting a certificate in gunsmithing, and that has been something new that started a few weeks ago. So I am looking forward to being able to say I am a certified gunsmith.
That's very cool. That's very cool. And just because it was funny to me, tell us about the jar.
So we do have a jar in our shop that is essentially named the Oopsie Jar. I won't say its actual name, but it is for when people give us guns to work on, and there is a live round in the chamber of said gun.
It's crazy that you have to have that, but I get it too.
It's really sad because the first question I ask someone when they put a gun case on my counter is it unloaded? And they always say yes. And if they say no, I make them go outside and unload it and then bring it back in. But most of the time they say yes.
Wow.
So it's just concerning that most of those people are just not that aware of where their ammunition is.
Yeah, that's a problem. All right. Well, I don't think that I actually said what I've been up to. So I just got off a week vacation with my family at the camp, and now I'm getting back to the streams and back to work doing. I decided that from now on, if somebody asks me what I do, I'm going to say, well, I'm the founder of an organization called Born Again Gamer, and go into that spiel rather than say, oh, I work in IT for the municipality that I live in. That's going to be my, Do you do anything else?
Side
I work. Yeah, I do. I also do IT for the town, but that's not the important one. But I want to get rolling on getting ready for our next in-person event, and get rolling on trying to get registered as a charity or a nonprofit. And so I'm Mom Talk Jen in chat says, "Oh, Scott." So yeah, that's what we're working on here. We got a Mario Kart event coming up in October, and I'd really like to get ahead of it, because last time I left it till like 3 weeks before I started actually like moving and doing stuff and talking to people and planning. It was pretty bad, so I'm getting an early start on that. But let's jump in on our first topic there. Do you want to intro it again, Flatcaps? You did a good job last time.
Oh, well, we were talking about unhealthy gun habits that people have. They think they've got good, healthy habits. They really don't check. They really didn't look into it. And so healthy digital habits. We're all in digital spaces. The world is moving further and further digital. And by default, if you don't set up healthy habits, you're not going to have healthy habits. So what are we doing for ourselves to have healthy habits?
Very good. And I consider in my life Chaplain to be a bit of an expert on that. That's why we bring them down to talk at our events to parents about relationships with their kids and that. So if you want to jump in, Chaplain, and get us started rolling on that.
I think that when we start talking about digital habits, and particularly, I think starting with digital habits and understanding that they're real and they exist, and then beginning to define what's the result of the digital habits that we're looking for. And I think that rather than labeling something good or bad, let's use the lens of relationship in the midst of it. And so when we're coaching and working with parents, or we're coming alongside families, we don't want a family to pre-label a child's experience in gaming, so then it becomes ultimately negative. The number of families that will come to me and say, "Oh, my kid's addicted to video games. What do I do?" And I'm like, "Really? Are you sure? Like are they addicted? Because that's a pretty heavy-handed term."
That's a strong word.
And most parents don't even recognize that it is a heavy word, and that the connotation that comes with it. I think that the idea of building presence is the key to building a positive gaming experience, or a positive digital experience. Is not expecting our children to have the wisdom to manage what they're experiencing. They have the knowledge of what to do, how to do, the button to push, the move to make, the map, but they don't have the wisdom on how to manage the relationships that might exist in there. One of the stories that I tell when I speak is the Lord of the Flies. And that in that very, very old book, it was written in 1954. I had to cite it in one of my papers today. In that, the idea that there's this island experience where there were no adults, there were only children. And it ended in tragedy because the children didn't have the wisdom to manage the morality of leadership in their context. And this is what's happening all the time. In the Go Game movement, we established a plan or a pathway we called Duo Q. And it was very similar to what Jesus did when he sent the disciples out 2 by 2. Who is your child's duo? Realistically, it should be you as the parent. You should be one of those duos. And how do we then build this generational connection and this generational experience for kids?
Yeah. That's very cool. Yeah, I was gonna bring up the Lord of the Flies, because I liked that example that you gave earlier. Yeah, it's just, I think of when I was younger, my relationship to my parents in terms of my gaming habits and things like that died off fairly early, and I went through my teens and my older years, just kind of managing myself in terms of my gaming habits. And they would say things like, "Oh, you spend too much time on games," but it didn't feel to me like it came from a position of that relationship, that duo, like you said. It felt like it felt a little bit nagging. So then I kind of brushed it off. I was like, well, this is what I like to do, and you like to watch TV, and I like to play video games, and it didn't really sink in until I was older. And even now, I know that I spend too much time scrolling reels and things on TikTok and Instagram. And I know, especially with this heat wave, boy, I'll go into my bedroom because it's one of the only rooms in the house with an air conditioner and be like, okay, I'm just going to come in here and cool off for a couple minutes. And then I'll pull out my phone and then I'm scrolling and then it's like an hour and I'm like, oh, where was I? Where did I go? You know what I mean? And kids even less have an awareness of that. I even see it when my kids aren't on digital stuff. Well, at camp this week, I was away on vacation there, and at camp, our son would go out, and he'd go out and play all day long, and supper time would roll around, and he was nowhere to be found. And he'd come home, because he knows he's supposed to come home when it gets dark, so he'd come home at dark, and then he'd say, I'm hungry. And we'd be like, well, why didn't you come home for supper? And he's like, well, I didn't know what time supper was. I'm like, but you can ask somebody. You could go. He's like, well, but I don't think of it. I'm like, but you have to. We have to start. You know what I mean? Like, he has no concept of time until it gets dark, which is how a lot of us operated as kids too. But I don't know. When I got home, I didn't say, I'm hungry, you got to feed me. I just would come in and I don't know. It feels different. I guess it's because I'm a parent now, not the kid. I'm not on the kid side. But it's funny. We have to be that partner, that awareness for them.
Yeah, see, and here's the beauty that I can offer as being the closest one to being a kid. Me growing up, honestly, that was just the way things were as when we were together with our friends. Could we eat? Sure. Are we going to? Probably not. Why not? Because this thing we're doing is really cool and really fun. And if we stop doing it, we're probably never going to do it again. And so that's a big thing too, is just trying to, as much as I wanted to adult when I was a kid, or when I was younger and in high school and whatnot, it was like, yeah, I could, but I know my parents are going to be there to take care of me. And then my parents are also going to teach me the lesson of, hey, you made a dumb choice. You're going to learn from your dumb choice. And my mother being the mother of 4 boys, I got that lesson a lot, being the youngest.
You had the ability to see your older siblings go through it first.
Oh yes, it was. Oh my goodness, the horror stories I have been told.
I'm the oldest, so I never got those. I got the odd story from my dad about his brother. My dad would tell me stories about his brother, and that scared me enough to not do too many really dumb things. But I definitely played too many games as a kid, and I go ahead, Flacca.
I gotta say, I never told my kids stories about what I did because they didn't need to learn things they could do.
Didn't want to give them ideas.
It was not wise for me to share a lot of the stories that I did because I did a lot of unhealthy things. You know, that's part of growing up when you would just be home alone. You know, you didn't have parental supervision. So you made a lot of dumb things. You made a lot of bad choices. I did correct some of those things. Like, I don't think that you should have a TV in the bedroom. I just don't think it's healthy. You know, there's a lot of biological reasons of you go in the room, your body needs to know that the room is for sleeping. It's all of those kinds of things are a healthy reason. But even just that, isolating yourself away from other people where they can't come in and see what you're doing is not a healthy way to live. So it's not that there was only one TV in the house. No, there's access to TVs and anybody can walk in and see what you're doing. There's computers. Anyone can walk in and see what you're doing. Now it moved to phone and tablets, and that got a little bit harder to set up healthy boundaries around that. But boy, you know, we could talk about, you know, addiction, and is something addicting or not? Or are you just engrossed in what's happening and you want to accomplish something because you're trying to achieve something? You can have that in video games. I had that whenever there would be, you know, breaks from school. One of us, my friends, would host. Everyone would come over. We would play Dungeons and Dragons until we fell asleep. We would get up in the morning. There would be, not telling you, these are stories I never told my kids. We would do 5-day sessions where we slept no more than 3 to 4 hours at a time, and we didn't shower. We would start out. Oh yeah. We would start out by going and buying whatever snacks we wanted to munch on the whole time. I always had almonds, and oatmeal cream pies and Dr. Pepper and other people, like all kinds of unhealthy things. And we would just hang out for days on end. And we stank really bad by the end of that time. And we finally got upset and tired and angry at each other and had to separate because we didn't put healthy boundaries. We weren't wise enough to know you need to have breaks in there. You're not going to miss something. You know, I never had FOMO as a kid because nobody missed out. We just kept staying there until we were done doing what we were doing the whole time. And I think some of those things have helped me to make wiser decisions with dealing with digital things.
Yeah, that's fair for sure. Yeah, I was going to comment on the idea that NYTxSABER said there about like, we didn't want to stop what we were doing because it might never happen again. I think that there's a lot more now. I see it now that I'm older more than I did when I was younger. This like kind of catastrophic thinking where it's like, if I don't get to do this, then it's never going to happen, or I'm going to miss out. Everybody's going to do that without me, and I'm not going to get to be a part of it. The FOMO, like you said, that can be a big one too, for in terms of the habits. Like my son wanted to take the Switch. We were going on the Saturday when we were at camp to go down to the park, and they had a family fun fair thing going on, and there was carnival games, and I was running this like pedal go-kart thing. I posted some videos on my social media of the go-kart things. And he's like, just a second, I got to grab my Switch. And he's trying to pack it up in its carrying case. And we're like, you're not taking that. He's like, but there's a Fortnite event. I'm like, no, you can't take that to the park and then sit at the park and play the Fortnite event. First of all, there's no Wi-Fi. But he couldn't think past the blinders of, I'm going to miss out on this event. This event is only for a short period of time, and I'm going to miss out on it. I haven't got a chance to sit down and talk with him about it yet. He didn't seem that worked up or upset about it. He put his Switch back, and I didn't yell or fight or argue, but it was just like, wow. Not even thinking. He just wanted it. He didn't even think about whether he could actually even do it or not. Interesting.
So what are some healthy habits that others have around how and where do you put limits on your engagement with digital things?
I'm in a bit of a unique situation. My kids are all in their 20s. Like, we classify them now as adults. We don't call them our kids anymore. We have our adults living in the house together. And so it's shifted quite a bit. But I remember when our youngest was graduating, he's 15 years old. He was finishing up his first year of high school, freshman year of high school. And he frumped down in the front seat of the car, and he just says, "Dad, I'm going to be a pro esports athlete." I'm like, okay. Didn't have any idea what that meant. And so we're like, okay, let's go on an adventure at 15 years old. And so we didn't say no, but we just said, let's go do it together, which is kind of what I was alluding to in the beginning part.
Yep.
And so it's not really something our kids have ever really had to do by themselves. And I think that like he got a 3-day ban in Overwatch, the game that he was playing at the time. And so he got a 3-day mute, so he wasn't allowed to talk or engage with anybody. He got reported for something, and then that went lifted. And like within a day of that being lifted, he ended up with a full 7-day no game on his account ban. Wow. And so like we basically grounded him from the game, and we moved his computer, like what you were saying, Flat. We moved his computer out of his bedroom down into the living room where he had to play back to back to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then he wasn't allowed to play his game. He had to play World of Warcraft with his dad. And it was so much fun for me, but we would be doing a dungeon or doing something, and all of a sudden his character would stop, and I could see him stop, and all of a sudden I'd hear tiki 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 on the keyboard. I'm like, don't you dare send that message. But Dad, he's being. I'm like, no, we know that's what they do. We pick up the slack. We don't cuss anybody out. We are recognizing that that's another human being on the other side. They're not just a digital representation
Mm-hmm.
of
Right.
something. They are a human being. And
Yeah.
I think that was one of those elements. And so we did that for 90 days until he got his full privileges back, of where he was able to move his computer back up into his bedroom. And I've never heard him ever since then berate another human being playing video games.
Hmm.
Do I hear him getting excited and amped up about the game that he's playing? Yes. But it had developed this idea of our family has values. And we have a focus, we have a tenure that we are trying to present within the context and the space. And it's bled out into multiple different areas. Now, we are very fortunate that he did become the athlete that he wanted to be. He was with 80, I think he was 81st in Overwatch 1 and 83rd in Overwatch 2, ranked out of 25 million players. It's like he was
Nice.
really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's been a really amazing journey in space. But recognizing as a dad that there are no dads in the space coaching.
Mm-hmm.
There are no dads in the space that are creating video games. There are no dads in the space that I've been introduced to, that I've had the privilege of spending time with, that are seeing kids that are playing video games that are in danger.
Yeah.
And it hurts constantly. The pain. Like I weep many days
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
engaging with athletes. And yeah, go ahead, Flat.
Oh, I was just going to say, you're saying you haven't seen that at the Christian Digital Game Conference. I can't remember what the acronym fully is, but going to that, there were at least 3 high school students who were there with their parents, that their parents had come with them to participate and talk about. And so one of them, who was I want to say 16, did want to be an esports person and wanted to create games, and dad was there with him, and dad wants to help create a father and son organization or support or whatever to help fathers be with their sons and do exactly what you're talking about, be in connection and relationship while they're in gaming and while they're doing all of those things. He wants to be with his son, not just abdicate and, oh, you want to go do that, I don't know anything about it, so go pursue it and then let the world influence you. He wants to be there, and he wants others, fathers and sons, to have that same thing you're talking about, that you've noticed a void in, is that they're there. Interesting thing that happened for me last year. My kids asked to play Baldur's Gate 3. We're all remote. My boys have been living in the basement during COVID, and then they all moved out, and so it was like, oh well, we don't see each other. We could do this every Sunday night. We'll play together. Initially, I hoped my wife would get on her computer and she could watch, and we'd have the spouses be able to be there as well. And pretty soon, that's not what was happening. It was, my son and my daughter, and my other son and myself. And then I was like, well, my wife's not here, so now I'm feeling guilty of that. I'm not spending time with her. And she's like, don't ever feel guilty about spending time with your kids. Your kids want to spend time with you. I don't care if it's 3 hours every Sunday night. They want to spend time with you. Don't feel guilty for spending time with them. So we did that for about 4 months. And then my sons got tired about the way that my daughter and I play, because she has to complete everything and I have to loot everything. And they already know the game. They've already finished it. They're playing a second time through, and they're like, we want to finish the main story. I'm like, the main story is for when everything else is done. So I'm not ready to do main story. So, but just what you're talking about, the camaraderie, the relationship, the spending time together. We're talking recently about maybe my daughter and I starting that up again. Without our son, who wants to go do it. We'll do it our way. I don't care how long it takes. We can do 1 chapter in a year and we'll be fine.
I think you can do custom events now, not to get us off on a tangent. But,
Oh, yeah. We don't need to go
Custom
onto any
adventures.
specific game, but yeah.
but yeah, it's interesting
and I mean,
because I just want
to throw this into the topic. I gotta throw this in.
Yeah.
In that, if you connect to people that are having those types of conversations, those are the people that I need to talk to, because
Okay,
one
I'll
of the
connect you.
aspects. Yeah, because one of the aspects that we're doing through Endgame Esports is we are creating a network of dads to be their kids' first coach. Because when you get into the industry, whether it's amateur, collegiate, or even pro, the challenge is the unhealthy coaching that exists is
Oh.
prevalent. Like, these coaches have no psychology or human development of any kind.
They watch Bobby Knight and they watch other people who berate their players, and they think that's how it's supposed to be. And it is not how it's supposed. You don't get the best out of your players by yelling at them. Yeah.
Yep.
Fear is not the best motivator.
And so our whole model is relationally driven coaching. And we call it relational accountability, is that you will get the most accountability out of an athlete when you have a relational connection and there's trust and development in the midst of that. So what we do is we teach parents how to be present in their kids' gaming experience, which is, we already talked about that. So by doing that, though, we're helping both the child and the parent recognize when a bad coach comes along.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you can recognize the bad coach, you can call them on it and you can say, no. That's not going to work, because that's unhealthy coaching. And I mean, it's like the dad on the sidelines of Little League baseball or soccer or any traditional sport. And a lot of times all you need is a pulse and be able to be present to get kind of thrust into the limelight. But in gaming and esports, it becomes so critical to have those out of game experiences and kids that are not able to have that relationship with their parent. It's a massive drought between the two of them. And if a parent is experiencing that, just simply ask them what game they're playing this week. And your kid will talk to you for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Or like we used to joke, and I would say I would teach a parent how to read a patch note. And so if Fortnite or Call of Duty, so let's use Call of Duty as an example, they would change they would tweak the specs on a weapon. And if you as a parent go and talk to your child, you can say, hey, listen, I was reading on those patch notes that they changed the bloom on such and such a rifle. Oh my God, Mom, you wouldn't believe it. And they literally just start downloading their entire experience. And the parent just has to sit and go, wow, yeah, that must be terrible. And it's like this instantaneous connection. Kids don't want to stop talking. If you're able to just ask that entry level question, that willingness to be present changes everything.
If they don't,
and yeah, Scott, I totally cut you off.
That's okay.
That was like
it still
fire hose all of a sudden.
It still connects. It's so much easier for them to share when they don't think that they're going to be thought of as being weird or lazy or looked down on, right? If they think that you're actually interested. But it all requires intentionality is what I was going to say. Like relationships with your kids, relationships in your marriage, relationships with anything, the streaming, anything that you're doing is just stopping for a second and going, okay, rather than trying to just react to everything, how do I act instead of react, right? You know what I mean? Like how do I get ahead of this and kind of like get involved and be a part of it intentionally rather than just like watching from the sidelines and getting confused and then angry and then scared and then fear comes in. And we all know from the Jedis what happens when fear gets in there. But yeah, for sure. That's all great stuff.
Well, and I think I was just going to say, I think it also, if you are in relationship and you know what they're doing, it makes it easier to then put limitations on it because they believe you understand and you want the best for them. instead of you don't understand and you're just against me.
Yeah.
So, you know, whatever they may be, the healthy habits you might develop as a family. For us, there's no phones at the table. Your phones are down. Now, maybe as a pastor, I have someone who is in the hospital. It goes for me too, unless I inform everyone, hey, so-and-so's in the hospital. I have an expectation. I will only pick it up and see if it's that person that I have info on, and then I will respond as soon as we're done eating. But I'm not gonna, you know, unless it's emergent. So we tried to, but if you didn't have the relationship and you just say no phones at the table, it sounds like you just don't understand. You know, like I think we talked about in other podcasts. Pause the game. Can't pause the game anymore. Pausing the game, like I go so far back, you couldn't pause the game. There was no pause on a game. Like the game was just playing, and you stop, you die. Now it's live. You can't pause the game. Yeah, you can't pause Pac-Man. You know, in the original, you can't pause because it's interactive with other people playing on the server live at the same time. We've gone back to you can't pause live, and if they don't believe you understand that, and you just say it doesn't matter, then you're not helping them develop wise, healthy habits. You're creating adversity between you and them.
Legalism and yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Or you get into the I'm the parent and I tell you the rules, and that doesn't help build them into healthy adults. It might get them to obey grudgingly, not out of love for you or out of respect for you. And as soon as they leave your house, they don't want anything to do with you.
Yeah. Saved by Grace brought up a really good point in the chat. He's talking about the amount of time that he's spending playing video games in a given week. And he's saying like somewhere between 28 and 30. I mean, he's not including his game tablet. Or sorry, he's on one tablet, but he's not including like YouTube and social media and such. But I mean, break that down. I mean, it's 4 hours a day. Like that's not a lot when we look at the context of what 24 hours is.
Right.
And so the fear is we would say, oh, 4 hours is too much. Oh my goodness, you're wasting your life. Versus, wait, 4 hours actually isn't that much. There's an even better test, and Sonic, I would really encourage you to take a look at this. There's a little test you can do, and it's called 167. And 167 hours in any given week, minus your sleep, minus all of the major things that you do. Look at the amount of time that you have remaining and left over. My wife and I did this assessment. She was like, she works full time. She travels an hour back and forth to work, and she has her exercise. She has everything she's going to do. She still had 17 hours of unaccounted time. Like she still had 17 hours in her whole week that she was able to divide that out to do that one extra thing that she was trying to incorporate into her daily routine. But she was like, I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do this. And I'm like, well, let's just take a bigger picture view. And again, this would be where, like me as a parent, that's what I would do with one of my kids. I would say, okay, let's do the math. Let's find the time. Let's prioritize, and let's find the time. Yeah. But we call it the 167 assessment. That's kind of we joke around with. Everybody has 167 hours. No one gets more. No one gets less.
All right.
What you do with it is the power.
True story. So we segue into our next topic. If you have 167 hours, but you're running low and you want to game, what do you think of idle gaming? Have any of you guys ever played an idle game? A lot of them are mobile, I think.
Oh yes, because when I was working my old full-time job, and I was working like 40-something hours a week. I didn't really have a lot of time to sit down and do games on my phone or just on my computer. So I would download these little games that were just really stupid games from the game store. My favorite one was Adventure Capitalist, where you just sit there and you just tap the screen, and every time you tap the screen, it generates dollars in the game, and then you can use the taps to turn that tapping money into literally just something that the game just does on its own outside of you playing it. So you leave the game alone for 24 hours and you come back and you've accrued this much money in that time period. And then you collect it all, invest in other stuff, and then you go right back to leaving it alone and not touching it. For a while, I thought it was just really dumb. And then I was like, this is a game that I can actually play and kind of just not pay attention to and not think when I do it. And when I was disgustingly busy with my job, I really liked not having to think after work.
Well,
So it was oddly relaxing.
yeah, and there's also, I think, a little bit on some of the idle games. I don't know if there's a specific category or they just lend themselves to those features of the daily check-in kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you get kind of like, I may only have 10 minutes, but I did it every day and I can be consistent and I can show up and I can participate in that way, even if it doesn't take me a lot of time. I show up and then the game goes about what it's doing. I often, like, if you go back to the sim games, I played them like an idle game because I would put them on pause, do all of my construction, everything else that I wanted to do, and then I just put run. And then I would put it on fast speed. So, or I would leave it for days and then come back, and anything that wasn't automated, you'd have to fix. So you just put it on pause, fix everything, and then have it go again. So there's that level at which the game can progress while you're not present. To me was kind of satisfying of, if I need to have these endangered species reproduce, I can't just sit there and make it happen. It's going to do all of whatever it's processing to have it happen. Well, if I can leave it idle for 3 days and come back, and now there's a baby panda, I can get all excited about it. Or if, mama's pregnant, I can get excited about it. Or I can speed it up and leave it and just go, well, it hasn't happened yet, but maybe it will.
I wonder when the
There's
first.
an Adam Sandler movie called Click.
Oh, I love that movie. I love that movie. That movie was so
With the
brilliant.
remote control. Yeah.
Adam Sandler and Christopher Walken should never be allowed to make another movie again because it will never be as good as Click.
That's funny. I was gonna say, I wonder when the first idle game really like not what we think of as the idle games now, where it's on your mobile phone and you just
Right.
you just tap it. But like The Sims was kind of like you said, it was like an idle game. You could set it and leave it and come back and check it. I know in the late 2000s, early 2010s, there I was playing a game that actually one of our community members still plays. Called O Game, and it was a space like war empire kind of browser game, and you'd build your planets, you'd mine resources, you'd upgrade things, you'd create ships, and then you'd send your ships out, but it all happened kind of in real time. So to send my ships to attack another planet might take 72 hours. So I got to send them, and then I just got to wait. And, in the meantime, I might be able to log back in every 4 hours and click another button to upgrade a mine or something, or to do whatever. But in a lot of ways, it was kind of idle. But I don't recall growing up.
Just out of curiosity, for that game specifically, did you have to leave it open for them to be able to go, or were you able to close it?
You could close it, yeah. Yeah, you could
close
it and it would just go. It was browser based on the server, and everything happened there. And yeah, it was really I loved it when I was younger because I could do it and then come back and check it after school. I could do it in the morning, check it after school. In college, I could check it in between classes and then not have to sit and play it during class. But I think that's borderline an idle game and like the Sims. But prior to those, I'm trying to think, like growing up, it was everything you had to play it. You had to sit in front of it and you had to play it. And there wasn't really any leaving the game going and coming back and checking it. It's interesting. And
I think technically the first actual idle game that I think was mobile based, I'm trying to remember the name of it. I think it was called Cookie Clicker. And you would literally just sit there and tap the screen.
Sammy mentioned that in chat, yeah. That's funny. But yeah, it's interesting because now they can do that, and then it's ads, and there's so much science that goes into developing the game to make it addictive. I'm using that word again, but to make it appeal to your senses, to pull you in, to make you want to come back to it, to attempt to be addictive. Maybe is a better way to put it, but it's very interesting how it's changed. Maybe it hasn't changed a lot from, you know, the Nintendo days. Those games were made to be satisfying. The sound that Mario makes when he jumps, and the arc that he takes, and the bounce, and everything they do is very finely tuned to be satisfying and make you want to do it again and again and again and again.
Yeah. Well, it may be a different way to look at it is it's trying to give you a dopamine a release of some kind, a satisfaction of completion of some kind, no matter how you're trying to accomplish that, is to get you to want to continue to have that happen. And that was one of the conversations the Christian gamers were talking about is how do you approach that? Where do you put it in your game? And do you monetize those things or not monetize those things? Especially if you're talking about a game on your phone. That's where you monetize all those things, that you're giving people incentives to be able to get that adrenaline or the dopamine or whatever it is release, and you monetize it. Now you are doing things detrimental to people. So is it wise to do that or not? Well, if you don't have those in somewhere in the game, then they're not exciting, they're not fun, they're not going to get people talking about them, they're not getting to play. So you need to serve your person that wants to play the game, but you don't want them to develop unhealthy habits. So that was kind of the conversations is what can you do instead of monetizing that piece, but still have it be the exciting thing that people are looking for and talking about.
It's a fine line, right? There has to be a balance of satisfying, but not harming the player.
Yeah. Would you guys consider the idle games similar to cozy games?
Not necessarily, because I don't think I can turn on like Stardew Valley and just let it run. My guy would fall asleep and pass out, and things would stop running and things would stop working. Not all cozy games, but
there's automated systems, but it's not. But a cozy game is more in line with it's just not. There's no pressure. It's not a competitive necessarily, unless you make it competitive. I guess for me, one of the decisions I had to make was if I can't do it with another human being, I shouldn't be doing it. And that was my choice because I fall into that rabbit hole. I got lost in Azeroth for over a decade. And I was a terrible dad for that decade. One more quest. Oh, I just got to finish up this quest. And, my kids falling asleep on the top of their beds with their street clothes on because I was responsible to put them to bed that night. And, living in that constant drive, I needed to create in-game accountability for my participation.
Yeah.
And so I still get together with a group of people, but we play a couple hours every night. And at 9:00, we're like, okay, we're dads. We're all going to bed now. Yeah. And I'm getting off.
Yeah. Well, and I love that you identified what for you was your personal healthy habits that were there. For myself, I've never been interested in playing anybody online. I just never got into that, the genre of playing against other people. I always wanted to beat the computer. I wanted to beat the game. I wanted to have completion. I wanted to have the satisfaction of running all the way through Zelda, getting I defeated Zelda. That's it. I defeated. There was no 2-player back then. And then when you did have 2-player, you still had to sit and wait your turn. And then that became a nuisance to me because you aren't very good or you're really, really good and I don't get to play. One of the two. And so, I did play some things with my kids. So really, when I was saying doing Baldur's Gate 3, that's the first experience I've had of trying to play to build relationships while you're playing in game. Otherwise, it would be I'm watching you building relationships with you while you're doing it.
Yeah, same. It's part of the reason why I started the streaming. One side was I was kind of inspired by the fact that my kids were watching stuff that I was like, I don't know if I want them watching this. Maybe I should, take it upon myself, pick up the mantle and make stuff that's okay for families to watch. But at the same time too, I can play Zelda. I just finished a Zelda game, but the whole time I'm chatting with the people in chat. I'm building relationships with people through chat and through the stream and stuff like that. So it's really cool to be able to do that. It's one of the things that I want to talk about. I'm trying to develop a talk that I can give. I've never been asked to, but I want to have it in my back pocket in case I ever do. But, you know, about letting people know, like, hey, your passion doesn't have to be a sinkhole. It doesn't have to be like a gaming passion. Start to recognize that you've got some bad gaming habits and take steps to correct them and make it something that can be a connection, make it something that can be a way to serve, a ministry, like Sonic says in chat. Because God gave you that passion for a reason. You love video games for a reason, whatever that reason might be, whether it's because of how creative they are, whether it's because you get to connect with people. Yeah, I'm trying to wrap my head around a talk that I can give on that, but yeah.
Well, one of the things I think Chaplain's been saying it, and I too, is like helping people figure out how to process through what's wise for them. Not coming with all the answers, but helping them come up with the questions that help them set the boundaries that they can hold to. There's no sense in, like I mentioned, no phones at the table. If you can't enforce it, don't make the rule. Make rules, and I don't mean rules and obedience, but rules as far as this is wise to do, this is healthy for us to do, here's where our boundaries are, but don't make ones you can't follow. And don't make ones that are just rigid for the sake of having them either. So there is some wisdom in processing through how does your family operate around things? What are your tendencies around things? Where are the things that are beneficial and how do you heighten those? Where are the things that are detrimental and where do you reduce those? In a different direction of developing healthy habits. It's not digital habits, but when I was in seminary, the easy thing for me to do would be to constantly study because there was always something more I could be studying and doing. I was not going to end that time of I could do more work. It was always going to be, if I had time available, I could fill it with doing more work. My wife set the boundary on me of Saturday and Sunday, I'm home. The kids are home. There is no studying on Saturday and Sunday. You have no school on Monday. You have all of Monday. You can get up early in the morning. I don't care. So I got up at 4 a.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays because that's when I had Greek, and I needed to spend 4 to 6 hours before I went to school making sure I had all of my Greek done. I did not like it. I despised it. From the standpoint of, let me just put it this way. I'm a C English student, okay? So I'm a C English student, and I'm trying to get B's in Greek, okay? This not an easy thing to do. Hebrew, for whatever reason, was so foreign, and you're reading from right to left, my brain could grasp it, and I didn't have the same problem there. But just like, I wouldn't tell anyone else that's a wise thing to do to get up at 4 a.m., but for my family, it was a wise thing to do. For me to have the time I needed, it was a wise thing to do. It was also a short-term temporary thing, but I still have that Saturday, Sunday boundary is really hard for me to overwork. I got stuff I could be doing that's all digital stuff to put out. Nope, it's Saturday. I really have a hard time sitting down and doing work on a Saturday because I'm not supposed to. It's family time. It's our requirements is to spend time with each other when we're both not doing something.
Yeah. That's good. We'll give Sammy a chance to join in here, and I will clip this out later before I post it on all of the places because I'll need a second just to rearrange the nameplates. But Sammy, if you're hanging with us there and want to jump in, perfect. It moved. It moved everything.
Yep. She turned her camera on. It all moved around.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no worries.
I can turn it off.
No, I've already started.
Just hide.
No,
No,
I
that's
just-
all gone back.
I just started rearranging everything.
She's like, down here, down there, down here.
I'm so sorry. Man,
It's
somebody
hilarious.
could make bank if they would just invent a program that would auto shuffle.
Right? If only I could just like click and drag
Time for you to learn
in.
code.
Wait a second. No, I can't.
tried
Okay.
that. Didn't go
I was
well.
gonna say, can I click and drag the picture, the cameras in Discord, but I can't. Okay, we are set up.
Dear Discord.
Write them a letter. All right, we are set up and we're ready to. Let me just add it. No, I'm not gonna bother with that. I'll just do like a clap or something. We can now start our Redwall review. So this week we want to feature a game by a developer called Soma Games, and it's called The Scout, I believe, The Lost Legends of Redwall Anthology. I probably shuffled a lot of the words around in that. If anybody knows the exact title, feel free to jump in and correct me.
Okay. I think you got it right.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. And it is, as you may have guessed from the title, it's based on the Redwall IP. It's a series of, I think, just books. There might have been a TV show, but I think the main source is books. And I think they're children's books, even though there's fighting and stuff in it. That is, it's more kind of like light adventure, right? But I had a chance to jump in and play the first little bit of the first act of the game there, and I quite enjoyed it. I'd like to hear what you guys all think before I give my thing, because I did like a little video review and posted it on YouTube. But I'm curious if any of you guys got a chance to try it out or look it up and watch any of the gameplay.
And you can be honest, even though I'm here. Like, I won't have my feelings hurt. I can take it.
Well, I went to go play it, and I think I used the same code that Born Again picked because I said it was already redeemed.
Oh no, I bought it. I bought it when it was on sale a couple weeks ago on
Oh,
Steam.
maybe I mistyped it.
Well, someone else might have grabbed it too. So
Okay. Mm-hmm.
That's possible, yeah.
Well, there were 3 of them. If you need another one, just let me know.
Yes, I'm gonna try another one after this because I really want to play it. It looks really fun.
Yeah, even before I got to play it, I was kind of looking over it and I was like, oh, it looks really like it. For one, family friendly, and I love that kind of stuff. Like I play games that are not family friendly from time to time, but there's just something that doesn't really appeal to me a ton about things like Grand Theft Auto and stuff like that. So if I can find a game
Grand
that
Theft
is
Auto?
fun, yeah, there's so much of it.
I'll be honest. I think the only time I've ever played Grand Theft Auto was just so I could drive funny looking cars.
The last one I played was Grand Theft Auto 2. It was a down skyward bird's eye view.
Oh, it was a bird.
And I was very young. Or PC, the demo on the PC or something, yeah. It was crazy. But I was too young to realize that I shouldn't be necessarily playing that game and doing the things in the game that I was doing in the game. So it's a kind of a breath of fresh air to get some games that are A, I think, well made, and B, family friendly. So my issue with trying to give a review is that I don't want people to think that just because I'm a Christian and I know that it's from a Christian developer that I'm going to automatically just be like dishonest and be like, guys, it's amazing. Go check it out. I actually honestly enjoyed the time that I spent playing it. I think that there were some times, like I said in my review, that it was hard because I didn't know exactly where I was supposed to look or where I was supposed to go. But a lot of people would say that some more modern games hold your hand too much. If you click on a quest and there's literally breadcrumbs on the ground for you to follow to get to that quest, then where's the difficulty? Where's the fun? Where's the kind of discovery and adventure and stuff like that, right? So,
especially in a puzzle game.
Right? Yeah.
Like, I don't want to know how to solve. I don't want the game to tell me how to solve the puzzle.
There's so many that do now, right? Yeah, you go somewhere and they're like,
back
hey,
when
did you see
back when
that
I
rock
played
over
Valiant
there?
well, back in the day, there was Nintendo Power, and you subscribed to it so that it would tell you step by step to go through it. So whether it's that or not, there will be YouTube videos telling you step by step when somebody does it. So if you want it, it's always going to be available because somebody is going to make it available for the people that want it. But I agree with you. The wanting to discover for yourself. is a great thing if you can not have it so difficult. Because I remember when it was, you had to type in what you want to do, and you didn't even know what the possibilities were. Go west, enter the cave. What can I throw at it? I don't know. I can throw anything. I have there was just no anything in it. So it's so much nicer to actually have a controller to do stuff. But it was I haven't played it, but it was the whole what is it? Redwall was heavily talked about at the Realm Makers con. There were people talking about it. There were people demoing it. There were kids that were really, really excited about it. So without me seeing it, there were kids excited about it and talking about it. And so for me to see the people who are supposed to be playing it excited about it, and they weren't necessarily excited about it because they were going, oh, it's a Christian game. They were talking about the characters that they knew and what was happening. So only being able to be witness to what they were doing, I didn't want to take one of the codes and play it for a half an hour and go, I reviewed it, and then I'm not going to pick it up because I got 3 other games I'm trying to play right now. So maybe I'll get to it, but right now it wasn't one of the ones I wanted to dive in. But I just wanted to share that piece of it that I saw kids excited about being able to play it and seeing it demoed and wanting to get the game.
And that's one of the things about it too. I don't know, you might be able to share more, Sammy, about it, but the games are not necessarily, the game isn't necessarily Christian, the developer is, but the game is just good and clean. It's, it's all very, as far as I can tell, truthful to the Redwall IP and the lore and stuff like that, but it's just not, it's not Grand Theft Auto. That's what I keep going back to.
Thanks. Yeah, if it's okay for me to share, that's one of the things that I really loved about Soma, and still love about Soma, that part of the whole mission was it was not to make Christian games, it was to make games by Christians. And so that it would be informed by our values, our headspace, our want to have a richer, kinder world, but without being a sermon per se. And there is nothing wrong with games that are sermons, like somebody mentioned Gate Zero, which we've talked about in the past, and there's some really, really good concepts out there for the type of Bible game, but that's not what we wanted to do. Really the mission part of Soma was the business side. It was sowing into the people. It was having we had Bible study every Wednesday morning before we'd jump into work. We would pray in the morning during our Scrum meetings together and really try to just make sure the back end is what was healthy, trusting that would then shine through in storytelling, just being a crew of people who, I think for a while we talked about it like Christians who couldn't be bought. So we wouldn't just make Grand Theft Auto or throw in scandalous scenes because that's what sells.
Very good.
Well, and if you have a good story that has light and darkness, it doesn't have to overtly be Christian. Now, Christians can see into it and see those battles between light and darkness, and they're going to see that. But other people are going to be drawn to that as well, of seeing there is evil and we want to defeat evil and those kinds of things. So having the distinctions there is a helpful thing for everybody to be able to see. You can go and enjoy Tolkien and all that he did, whether you're a Christian or not. If you're a Christian, you have a whole deeper appreciation for it, but it's not in your face preaching to you in any capacity. It's an enjoyable world that he created that is a battle between good and evil.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very good point.
I do like that whole philosophy behind not being a Christian game, but a game by Christians, because I have seen that concept very, very successful in different industries. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard of NF. He's very much so proudly speaks that he's not a Christian rapper, but he's a rapper that is Christian. And all of his albums, all of his songs, they're all clean as a whistle. He talks about super serious stuff. He talks about his battles, and he did an entire album series called The Journey. It's like 5 or 6 albums long of just songs about his life story. And he is the way he went about it was just so amazing. And that I feel like with Soma doing what they're doing and taking that same step but in a different field, I feel has the promise to be very successful.
Yeah. And there's quite a few.
We also
Go
know
ahead,
there's
Sammy.
sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Sorry, the delays. Just also knowing that there can be such contention with video games in the Christian space because of the ability to be addicting, and like some people taking advantage of that. That there's just this kind of like, oh my gosh, why did the thought die in my head? Wow, that's embarrassing. This just keeps happening.
I asked that
Mid-thought,
question a
it's
lot.
just gone.
That's okay. I was going to jump in. You can think of it maybe while I talk, but I was going to say that
Yeah, sorry, continue.
the same thing exists within our streamer world. I tend to be overtly Christian in my stream, but I know that there are quite a few Christian streamers who are Christians, and they stream, but they're not doing Bible studies. They're not stopping doing like a worship time in the middle like we do. They're not necessarily praying. They may, if somebody comes in and is like, hey, I'm just really struggling, can we pray or whatever? But they're there, and they're just being friendly. They're being a positive space. They're being, a community where people can gather and be safe. And, they're probably open to sharing if somebody was to ask them about it. And that's their place and their ability to serve and develop those relationships before they share their faith and share the gospel. And I think that there's space for both of those things to exist, for there to be stuff that is like in your face kind of Christian and stuff that is not as much. Still nothing, Sammy.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Well,
It's just completely gone.
yeah. Well, one other just thought along the lines of, if you go into some industries, we've almost created a Christian movie industry, a Christian music industry. We don't just need a Christian game industry so Christians can buy games that are Christian themed, because they may not be good. And just putting the Christian label on it, some people will buy them. We don't need to make Christian games for the sake of we need Christian games. No, if we bring Christian themes in because our beliefs inspire us to create wonderful art that people are going to love, and it does bring the message of Christ, great. If not, our lives are still going to be poured in alongside of the people we're creating, the people we're playing games with, and our light will shine on those people. So we don't have to create a whole Christian game industry and then have the label of, over here on the shelf are the Christian games, or over here are all the secular games. It's not beneficial to have that kind of separation.
Thank you. That actually triggered the thing I wanted to talk about, was how Hollywood, back during its rising, this is a story like we hold near and dear with like our mission statement, that up in Hollywood they were like, hey, we need the best Christian storytellers and visual artists like to get in here and tell stories. And the dean of a Christian college or something wrote back saying, I'd rather my students go directly to hell than stop at Hollywood along the way. And we see how well that kind of worked out for us, that we do have this segregation of church movies versus regular movies. And then we wonder like why there's this unhealthy culture down there. It's like we don't want to abandon the space, especially since video games is a new industry, relatively speaking.
Yeah.
And somebody
we don't
mentioned
wanna-
Angel Studios. Love those guys.
Yeah. But it
early
doesn't
on
mean
in my
we
journey,
go ahead.
early on in my process of kind of figuring out where I was going to inhabit in this space, I was privileged to interview a gentleman that worked for Riot Games. He was one of the first 10 hires at Riot Games. He's been there ever since, and he was a Christian. And he put me in my place because he said to me, "No one is coming to the community that comes to our games to meet them. There is no more Jew, there is no more Greek, there is no more slave, there's no more. No one is coming to meet the people where they are, bringing the gospel with them." I have St. Augustine has a great quote, and I love it. And it's, "Preach the gospel at all times, and if all else fails, use words."
Mhm.
If people are not asking us, "Wait, you live differently. Wait, why aren't you swearing? Wait." If people are not asking us the questions, then are we really representing a radical gospel in a
Mm.
way that is being remembered?
Yeah, or noticed. Yeah.
Well, thanks. I know you guys wanted to talk about Redwall, but thanks for letting me get on my little soapbox and share some of Soma's
No, that's
mission, because that really was just something special in the heart of it was so fun to work on all the Redwall games. And somebody mentioned Zork earlier. We got to partner with Scott Klopis, who did some of the early text adventures, and we got to make like a Redwall text adventure also. I mean, they headed it up. I mostly just did play testing, but you can play a Redwall game on your Amazon Alexa or smart fridge, and that's pretty cool.
Oh, that's neat. Yeah, that's very
So,
cool.
are you still working with Soma, or have you parted?
I've parted currently. We'll see if more work opens up, being kind of
Okay.
a contract
Okay, so it is
based
contract
industry.
opportunity.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
It's very cool. No, it's good that we were able to talk a bit about the game and then also highlight the company, because they're still working on stuff and they're going to keep making stuff, I hope. And I think the Verity Lux was their newest release, or have they had anything since Verity?
Nope, I think that would be the latest one,
Yeah.
unless, yeah, and I think that they've been working on doing some updates and trying to, I know that one suffered a little bit from a truncated release. I mean, suffered, like I still think it was planned to be bigger than it was. We had to scope things down quite a bit from the vision, but I guess they're slowly sliding in some of those things.
That's cool. And I also played one of their older gravity puzzle games, but I got very frustrated with it because it's really hard.
They built that one before my time, and it looked like it was hard, but that's the same universe that Verity Lux is in.
Oh,
We just
okay.
took that universe.
I
and we're
wondered
like,
it.
how about we build a different game?
That's cool.
Well, just thinking about small gaming communities that are, or developers that are putting out one game at a time, two, those kinds of things. We were talking about this a lot at how can we as gamers support them?
Mm-hmm.
And if you know of a new game that is being developed and we can share it with people, it doesn't mean I'm going to actually buy the game, but if I all of a sudden go wish list the game, I can help support and show that there's interest for this and get word out so that others will know about it. I don't play that many games. I'm usually RPG. So I'm going to stick in the realm of RPG as my first choice of what I'm going to play. I'll play other things, but I know other people love other style of game, of the cozy games. And so if you've got a cozy game coming out, I'll throw it on my wish list. But it doesn't mean I'm gonna be first in line to get it. But just thinking about that, as anybody does know of games coming out, anybody listen to the podcast, we can keep that in mind to help support and keep things moving forward. If you're able to, hey, this is a new game coming out. Here's where it is. We talked about Gate Zero. There's a bunch of people that either have the beta version or have put that on the wish list, and I think that helped a lot for them to continue to be able to go back and process and make it better. So that's some of the other ways we can help with the industry, is to get better games if they get better funding so they can do more and hire more people.
Yeah. definitely. That, yeah, I saw that actually earlier today, I think, on over on the Lamdris server. Somebody mentioned that, like, like and wish list and stuff like that. I happen to just play
Reviews,
those.
especially.
I just happened to play those games because they were on the Steam sale, and I was like, oh, I can pick them up. You know, my budget for gaming is not as high as it used to be when I was younger, but now that I have 4 kids.
Mood.
But yeah, we don't necessarily have to every time we do a talk about a game have played it or have everyone have played it. I think it's just good to get the awareness out there, to just say, hey, this thing is coming out. These people are working on it. Here's their page. Go find them on Steam or whatever, and help them out by following and liking, and you know, if there's a demo, download it and try it and give a review, and you know, so yeah. Great.
A few guys were talking about too, before they fully release demos, that sometimes having a demo on Steam can work negatively for them. So they may have it where you can get a download version outside of Steam, so you're not rating it yet on Steam, so they can get feedback, so it doesn't linger too long in demo mode, and then it ends up in the middle of thumbs up and thumbs down with without a lot of actual, you know, gameplay available yet. So I can't remember who it is. He was telling me about his game, and I was like really excited about it, but he doesn't have enough out there that he wants a demo yet, because he doesn't want it to linger too long in that zone of thumb up and thumb down before he. So I've already wish listed it, but I've got to go to his website to get a demo, or message him to get a demo version. So
yeah, and I think there's like itch.io is a place where people will post like indie stuff and demos and things like that too. So yeah. Well, it was awesome having all you guys on tonight. Thank you for hopping in, and thanks, Sammy, for jumping in with our discussion about Redwall. Do you guys want to give yourselves a shout out? Is there any place where you want people to go look at your stuff or find you and follow you?
you're muted, Chaplain. You're muted.
Bummer.
There
It's
he
going to
is.
happen at least once. Endgameesports.gg be the place to check me out.
Perfect.
I stream on Twitch, FlatcapDapperPastor. You can find me on most of the other socials the same way. Some of them don't let you have a long enough name, so it'll be FlatcapDapperP or something along those lines. But otherwise, the most places that I'm at is on Twitch or on YouTube.
Perfect.
You can find me on Twitch at NYTxSABER. Twitch is my primary location for right now, with more socials to be coming in the near future.
Very cool. Sammy,
I don't have anything, but no Soma Games has.
There you go. All right, yeah, check out Google Soma Games, SOMA Games. Yeah, very cool. And I'm also on Twitch, which is, if you're watching live right now, you're already there, so you don't need help with that. But I'm either Born Again Gamer or the Born Again Gamer on most of my social stuff as well. And thank you for watching. This has been episode 3 of our podcast. I think before we were recording, I did that whole spiel about episode 5 being the cutoff point where a lot of podcasts apparently die. So we're more than halfway there, guys. So
We can do it. We can beat the allegations.
yeah. All right, I'm gonna hit the closer here. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
Good night, guys.
Good to see you all.
All right. Thank you.